hi, hello, and all that good stuff. My name is Allie, I am the Chaotic Reader, and this is where I talk about book things. Today I'm bringing you my July TBR, and I've got a bit of a fun way to do it, but it's not exactly what I had in mind. Let me explain. I ordered a puzzle on Amazon, and nowhere on it did it say mini or crystal or anything in the description of this puzzle. I thought it was just a small, like 100 and something piece puzzle. Well, it showed up and I was like, why is it in this tiny bag? I don't understand. I opened the package. The puzzle is in a box about this big, and the pieces are like the size of my pinky nail. So it wasn't gonna work for what I had in mind, but considering that that was Friday and it's now July 4th and I need to film my July TBR, I really didn't have a lot of options. So I'm still doing the thing with the puzzle, which I will explain in a minute, but instead of making a cute Totoro puzzle, we are creating a Minnie Mouse floor puzzle for children because it was the only puzzle available at any store in my town. So this is what we got. Now, let me explain how this is gonna work. So each puzzle piece that is in this bag, for example, like this one says ebook, each piece in this bag is going to have some sort of prompt or reading challenge on it that I will need to complete this month. And then when I complete that, I earn the piece and can put parts of the puzzle together at the end of the month. Now, this is 46 pieces, so obviously this isn't going to be completed in 1 month. I will earn the puzzle pieces each month, and then eventually we will have a full puzzle. So I don't know how many I'm going to draw each month. I'm just going to kind of draw until I decide I'm done drawing. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get into this TBR and draw my first piece here. Get down into the bottom. Let's see. A standalone. That should be pretty easy. So since it already is a few days into July, I do have some reads that I already started, and I would like to make those fit some of these prompts. One of those books is Black Girl Unlimited by Echo Brown. I don't know if you can really see the cover with me just holding up my Kindle, so I will put a picture of the cover here. This is an absolutely stunningly written magical realism, contemporary, coming-of-age story about a Black girl growing up being Black. And from what I've heard from specifically Black people, the representation in here is really good. So I can't speak on the representation, but I've heard that the representation is fantastic. I mean, its own voices, how could the representation really be bad? You know what I'm saying? But it's so good, and even though I'm not finished with it, I would definitely still recommend it at this point in reading it. All right, let's draw another one. A 2019 release. It took me a minute to find what I wanted, but I picked up Wicked Fox by Cat Cho. This is one I was really excited for when it was first released in mid-2019, but I never got to it. I don't really know why. I did actually read a few chapters of it when I first got it, but I just wasn't feeling it at the time, and I put it down. I do really want to give this another chance though, because I think I'm going to love it. It kind of sounds like a Korean drama. At least that's what it's often compared to, and I love K-dramas. They are just so good and so entertaining, and so I think that this will be too. This follows a girl who is a gumiho, and she has a fox spirit inside of her, and she has a soul bead. She has to devour the souls of men, basically, to stay alive, to feed, but instead she saves a boy's life and loses her soul bead, and then they have to go on a journey of some sort to get it, and then they obviously fall in love because it's a romance too. So it sounds like perfection, and I'm not really sure why I just didn't get to it or wasn't feeling it when I first got it, but now I think is a good time to pick it up. I'm just gonna grab another one. This one. Do a 24-hour readathon. So there are, I think, like 2 or 3 challenges in here that I might get throughout the months, and this is one of those. This means that at some point during this month, I will be doing a 24-hour readathon and trying to read as much as possible in that time frame to try and kind of pick up my reading this month. I honestly will probably do it during Becca's 48-hour bookoplathon because I'm going to be trying to finish 4 books that weekend anyway, so I will probably do it then. Let's get another. Next in a series. I know exactly what I'm going to grab for this. Here is A Duke by Default by Alyssa Cole, and this is 100% a book that I wanted to get to this month anyway, so it's perfect that next in a series came up because this is next in the Reluctant Royal series. They're romance novels, so they're not connected exactly. It's loose connections between the books in the series, but it's characters from previous books who then star in the future books. This one is the best friend of the protagonist in the first book. I'm so excited to read this. I read A Princess in Theory, and it was my first Alyssa Cole book, and I read that last month. It was so good. It topped out at one of my favorite books of the whole year, and I need to read everything Alyssa Cole has ever written, so there will probably be a lot of Alyssa Cole books in my wrap-ups for this foreseeable future, but this is the next one I have to get to. And this one is about Portia, who wants to kind of turn her life around and stop drinking so much, stop partying so much, swear off guys in general, and she decided to go to an apprenticeship as a blacksmith, and then she ends up falling in love with the blacksmith she is apprenticing with, and it turns out he's a duke. I don't know how that comes in or what goes on with that, but they're the Reluctant Royal series, and the book is called The Duke by Default. So let's pull out another one. A physical book. Bam, easy. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab Twilight for this because I have to read it this month anyway. If you didn't know, I am hosting a Twilight read-along called the Twilight Along. I will link the Discord down below if you would like to join. We are reading 1 book a month, with Twilight being this month's pick, and then Midnight Sun in August, finishing out the series with 1 book a month, therefore after. I think it's going to be a really good time. I haven't read these since I first read them in middle school, so I'm interested to see what my thoughts are now. I don't think I'm going to hate them, to be honest. I think I'm going to get a lot of enjoyment out of reading them because I just loved them so much in middle school. I just don't think I have it in me to hate these books. So we'll see, but I really don't think I can hate them. We actually have people in the group that are reading these for the first time, and I am really interested to see what they think because I can't imagine reading these for the first time now. I love them because I read them in middle school and it was just fantastic for me back then, but I don't know if I could love them not having read them before. I just don't know. I assume you know what Twilight's about, so I'm just gonna move on. I'm just gonna keep pulling. Get down to the bottom. Have title starts with the first letter of my name. That would be an A. I'm gonna have to look for this. Actually, you know what? Thinking about it, this should have come to my mind right away. Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb. I got the ebook of this. I need to continue with the series. I'm gonna read this month. Hopefully it doesn't take me as long as Royal Assassin, the previous book, did. I love these books, but I read them really, really slowly, and I'm not sure exactly why. My only guess is that they are dense and they are very slow in parts of them. Also, the main character, Fitz, that is my boy. I love him with my whole heart, and he goes through so much in these books. He never gets a break. He never even gets a small crumble of happiness. It's hard to read sometimes, but I'm really excited to continue this. This is the last in this trilogy, and then after this, I think we're moving on to the Live Ship Traders trilogy. I'm reading it for the Catch Up Book Club, which Becca over at Becca in the Books hosts. I will link that down below as well. And I think we're moving on to Live Ship Traders next, but don't quote me on that either. I fit all 4 of my current reads really easily into these prompts, so I feel like I need to draw a couple more. poll. Okay, so this means I am going to go ahead and grab 4 books that I'm interested in reading, and I will put a poll up on Twitter that you can go vote in to pick my read for the month. Give me a minute. All right, I have 3 books that I will put in a poll. I couldn't find a 4th one that I really wanted to pick. I wanted to kind of pick some books that there wouldn't be one really obvious one that everyone would pick to vote for. So these are the 3 I'm going with. We have Along for the Ride by Mimi Grace, which is a road trip romance. I don't know a whole lot more about it than that, other than I think she was supposed to go on a road trip with her dad, and her dad ditches her, so she ends up going with this boy she doesn't really like, but obviously they're gonna fall in love, and I was sold at road trip romance. I really don't need to know much more. I'm just really excited for a road trip romance. So there's that one. Then we have The Beast Player by Naoko Usashi, and this, I don't know a lot about either. It is compared to being like reading a Ghibli movie I've seen, and that really sold me. The cover is also gorgeous and I'm really drawn to it. I believe it's about a young boy who can control beasts, but I don't know much more about the plot than that. I don't really want to know a lot going into this one. I just really want to experience it. And the last book I have for the poll is We Unleash the Merciless Storm by Taylor K. Mejia. This is the sequel to We Set the Dark on Fire, and it is the last book because it is a duology. This duology is sort of a dystopian with a sapphic romance. I've heard people call this fantasy. I don't really know that I would call it fantasy. I would just consider it more of sort of a dystopian. The first book followed Danny, and she was going to this all-girls school to train to become a wife, and each man of powerful households has 2 wives that they get from these women that are trained to be these wives. One is sort of a softer woman. She is meant to bear children and be a mother and be there for all the pleasures the man might need. And the other wife is sort of a harder woman. She's not supposed to be emotional. She takes care of all sorts of different household things, and she does more of almost like a business aspect of things. So Danny is training to be this, and she gets her position as the wife of this very powerful man. There is an organization trying to basically have a rebellion against this system, and she gets kind of wrapped up into some of this, and then there's a perfect sapphic romance that is just everything. So this is one of the other options. So that is it for what I'm going to pull. I pulled 8 pieces this month, and that came out to 7 books. I do have more books that I want to read this month than just that. I'm hoping this is going to be a really good reading month because I have a lot of plans. I'm also taking part in 3 readathons, the first of which is the Pop Culture Readathon. I'm not having a set TBR for this. I just printed out the bingo boards, and every time that I pick up a book to read, I just find where it fits on the boards, and if I make bingos, I do. If I don't, I don't. But I just thought it would be fun to kind of low-key participate in that. And then I am participating in Cramathon, which starts on Monday and goes until the 12th, I believe. I have a list of books I want to read for this, but it's not finalized yet. And the last readathon I'm participating in is Becca's Bookoplathon. I'm really excited for that. I'm going to be trying to read 4 books in the weekend, and I will also be doing a 24-hour readathon so that I can get as much reading done as possible and complete the 24-hour readathon I need to do this month. With the puzzle, you will get to see me put the pieces where they go at the end of the month when I do my wrap-up. This is going to be done by, I'm going to have a big sort of mat that has the puzzle drawn onto it, how it's supposed to go together, so that I can just tape the pieces down where they're supposed to go, and each month we can watch the puzzle grow until it is completed. And then, if you guys like this idea, I will do more puzzles in the future and get ones that aren't Minnie Mouse. That's all I have for you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like what I have to offer. Comment down below what you're most excited to read this month, and I will see you guys next time.